And in a nail-biting series, so Red is gonna go on, play the Muslim for a spot in Toronto, and now we see Polt against aLive. It's impossible to say who they are going to face. That is something we will know at the end of the day. That all comes down to the other two results as well, which we are of course gonna cast after this with Dimaga versus Gunzi and Sen versus Zinio.
Cannot wait for Sen versus Zinio. It's gonna be an awesome ZVZ.
You've been a big fan of ZVZ recently.
I've been enjoying it. I've been playing a different style, and you know, if you ever want to practice ZVZ, all you got to do is queue up as Zerg on the North American ladder, because that's all you ever run into.
It's really funny because the last 2 days when I streamed quite a bit, I was actually kind of hoping for Protoss games because it keeps my mood up, and I actually played really a lot of PvP. But like the days before, I had a lot of ZVZ and CVP, and I just kept losing. I was like, just give me some PvPs. And the last few days when I was actually streaming, I had a lot of PvP, and it was going well.
I've changed up my ZVZ style, playing some Infesterling, and it's a lot of fun, and I feel like it's a very strong style that transitions well, and that it's just fun to play, and that's the biggest thing for me, man.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. As long as it's fun, it's all good. Even if you know perhaps it might not even necessarily be the best strategy, as long as you have fun playing a certain strat, you can really get away with it, because you can also get better at a strat that people are sort of uncomfortable with or don't face all that much. So even if your strategy might be slightly inferior, if you're able to execute it at a super high level and catch opponents off guard, it might be totally worth it.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have a chance to talk more about it during the Sen Zinio series.
I was about to say, you can later tell me all about it, even though I know pretty much all about it already, because I mean normally I never see Ben. Nowadays he knocks on my door 5 times in a row. I just played another ZVZ and I won. It was so fun.
That's not how it goes at all. It's usually we're at the office. No. I don't get to play much from home because my computer is actually connected wirelessly to the internet because it's in another room, and playing StarCraft on a wireless connection.
We have to keep it fair for the guys on Battle.net some way. You already play Zerg, they need one at the
I do need to say this, Kev. We just saw an awesome game between Polt and aLive. But there is... Wait a second, let me think. Nope, never mind. Sorry. Can't make that point. The point that I had was only relevant on the map before that, which was Odyssey.
Okay.
But I'm going to make it anyway. The game on Odyssey?
Yes.
There's one reason why aLive won that game.
Odyssey... Okay, yes.
Reaper fan.
Yes, that definitely wasn't the point in the previous game. Supply Depot was a little bit late for aLive. aLive is of course our purple Terran in the right top side of this map, and TSL Polt is our blue Terran spawning in the left bottom side of the map. I was just checking out, nice little trick right here by aLive. I love it when you use your own probe, or your own SCV in this case, to let the Stelnaga Watchtower go down and then bring in a unit to actually pick off the scouting SCV from your opponent, or probe in that case. Right now with 2 Marines it's going to be harder because aLive is going to be seeing, we'll see them coming in. And obviously he's going to move his Marine. Someone just wrote in the live report in Team Liquid, like, why are they playing with blue versus purple? Is this a way to push the HD subscriber pass? I've never really thought about it like that, but no, that's not the case. Not
bad. That's a good idea. From now on, all of our games will be purple versus pink or blue versus purple.
Imagine ZVZ purple versus blue. I think I'm going to scream.
Purple versus pink is the worst in ZVZ because everything just blends together.
Yeah, but like at least you see pink on the minimap. You don't see blue on the minimap.
Not when it's on creep, bro.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You don't see pink on blue on creep?
Well, I mean...
Okay.
I guess they're both pretty equally hard to see.
But no, guys, that's not the case. Just like the previous series, these games have been played earlier. We had a lot of live games during the regular season. These playoff games have all been played in the past 24 hours. We want to give the guys optimal conditions to play their most comfortable time, and neither of the guys want to play the series live. And normally we try to push for live games, but these games being so important, so much at stake, they fought an entire season for it. They woke up for us several times at either 9 AM or 3, or they stayed up to 3 AM in the regular season, and we obviously decided we want to give them the best possible conditions for /playoffs /wildcards.
Also critically, not only that, but when you play a live game, it's played on North America.
Yes.
When you got a couple of Koreans playing against each other in a replay cast, they're able to play on the Korean server. So this is played on the best possible settings for these guys.
Good point, man.
Banshee opening for aLive. Polt is playing Fast Expand once again. This is must win for Polt. He's down 1-2. And if he wants to keep his playoff hopes alive, if he wants to have a ticket to Toronto, he has to win here.
Polt, a player with a lot of foreign fansmen, so I think a lot of guys would love to see him in Toronto. But as you said, he has to take 2 maps from aLive, and then he has to win 1 more best of 5 against someone we don't really know yet. We're going to figure that out at the end of the day. Polt drops the scan right now, that also important scan in the main base of aLive, and he sees a lot, and that's going to help.
Indeed he does. Everything, basically. So he knows exactly what to expect. He says, all right, well, there's probably a Banshee coming. I need to have my units positioned well. I probably want to get a turret down eventually. He's getting that eBay finished up right now.
Polt getting a little bit lucky there. If aLive would have gone straight away with the Marines, he would have ended up losing those Marines. Now Polt is going to bring in reinforcements. He's going to reveal the medevac. I can only imagine that aLive did see that medevac.
Wow, Polt's going to drop right now? This is so risky. How is he going to deal with the Banshee?
He's going to go... Well,
Okay,
he has a couple of stim Marines. He's going to go for a missile turret as well. I actually think this might turn out very well for Polt. Of course, he cannot lose too much against this Banshee. He has a couple of stim Marines, Ben. The stim is as good as ready. It's actually 14 seconds.
Turret not going to be able to finish. This Banshee does a good job and then actually slides out of there. I think aLive was anticipating a response, but actually there's not a very good one, so he should have left that Banshee around for a little while longer because the brunt of Polt's Marines are in this medevac, making their way over to the main base of aLive. aLive, you know, he has expanded. He's got some good economy behind this Banshee opening, but he's going to take some damage here.
Following aLive first person right now. He's going to spot it right now. He knows about the main base of...
Great reaction speed.
Yeah, he knows about the drop of Polt. Polt's taking his time actually to do something with his drop. Might pick up the Viking. No, he's not going to be able to pick up the Viking. So far, so good for aLive. Well,
can Polt kill a siege tank? That'd be pretty sweet. Viking's going to chase away the medevac, and actually Polt's going to have no choice but to get out of there. You need to unload to keep the medevac alive. That's exactly what he does. Oh, no. 3 Marines get out. The other 5 are going to go down, and these are 3 sad-faced Marines, Kev.
They're traumatized for life, man. How can you ever send those guys back to battle?
These guys are running home with tears in their eyes.
Yeah, I saw it all happening.
Billy was sucked out of the opening. Oh, no! And they run into more Marines, so they die with tears in their eyes.
Yeah, that's what you get, man. When you have tears in your eyes, you can't see. And then you have to go through a fog wall, and then you have to go through a side block. How would you call this little... Yeah, just fog?
That would be... it's a ventilation deck.
Okay, man.
Man, this. You know, if you really look at this map, it's kind of bizarre. It's like a city built on an asteroid. Why would anybody do that? That just seems so unsafe to me.
I don't know, man. I can't answer those questions. I just make zealots.
But I mean,
don't ask me questions.
Yeah, have you ever thought about it? It's very clearly in space.
No,
it's not a very thick asteroid. You can see that it's only about as deep as okay, we'll talk more about it later. As aLive is pushing with a lot of tanks and Marines. This is a scary push, Kev. And Polt has lost so many units. He's going to have some difficulty in mustering a good defense.
Worth mentioning is something I never mentioned. That aLive cancelled the cloak after the scan went down for Polt in the main base. aLive saw that he was scouted, and he actually just cancelled cloak straight after that. We see Polt right now having the Viking on patrol, probably wondering like, if he would ever go for Cloak Banshee, wouldn't he send more than 1 Banshee? But no, Cloak was cancelled. Maybe Polt is aware of that by now, but he just doesn't want to get dropped. Polt is behind though, Ben. He's 6 SCVs behind, and well, he's going to be ahead again in base.
Again, Polt's going to load up a drop. He's going to fly it right over a Marine, which is basically going to mean that drop is probably not going to end up happening.
aLive, his third base is going to be a little bit quicker than Polt. I did not see that base originally, but we can see aLive on 3 bases as well. So this time aLive is the player who's ahead with just a little bit of everything. Not a whole lot, just a couple of minor things in which he is ahead. Take a look at the production tab right now, man. aLive producing a whole lot of stuff, but not that much.
Yeah, there's a massive production tab there for aLive. Polt's just focusing on Marines and getting that armor upgrade. And rightfully so, I guess. He's got a ton of reactored barracks. aLive on the move once again, moves out into the center of the map, just controlling the Zelnaya tower and maybe maybe planning on pushing through the center. We will see.
Sorry, Ben, I was slightly distracted. You guys will figure out later why I was slightly distracted. That's a small surprise. Oop. Okay, Ben, I'm starting to get nervous. A lot of stuff happening in the studio. Anyways, back to the game. We see Planetary Fortress for Polt on his third base. Polt did land a little bit quicker, but aLive is going to have an orbital over here. Polt is going to try to do something about it. We might see the first real engagement of this game. aLive a little bit of hand supply. He's going to get better upgrades as well. 1-0 for Polt, 1-1. Well, Polt is also almost going to be 1-1. So it's pretty much even. aLive is going to have the armory. I'm not sure. Yeah, both players are going to have the armory. Quite an even game, despite aLive being ahead 15 to 20 supply.
Well, Polt does have his position. aLive can't really go up a ramp attacking into Polt. That wouldn't make any sense at all. Right now, Planetary is complete at Polt's third base. aLive opting for the orbital, so that's going to give him a little bit more, I guess, explosiveness in his income. But it's yet to be seen whether or not it's gonna pay off. That it is an orbital and not a planetary.
Yes, a lot of stuff is happening here, guys. What shouldn't happen. I guess you guys will figure out all about it later on. It is no biggie. It's just Chance having fun with the TVTs in his own way. But yes, man, I do agree with everything you just said.
I don't even know what I just said.
Me neither. That's why I agree with it. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't. Scan goes down from aLive. Knows that Polt is coming in from the north side. Polt does have control of this All-Night Watchtower, but not for a long time since aLive did get vision with that medevac.
Yep, good position for Polt, but aLive does have the slightly larger army. 1-1 done on both sides with +2 timing out at about the same times. Polt's playing this pretty smart, Kev, in spite of being maybe a little bit behind at the beginning. I think he's evened things up nicely.
Yeah, he has to be careful though. I'm surprised that Polt is actually the aggressor in this game. While he's down 25 to 30 supply, he's the one trying to get the sort of contains off. Small hit squad in trouble.
Yeah, medevac was spotted, and aLive's just going to run right up and crush it. Every one of those Marines will fall. Medevac will probably go down as well. Yes, it does. And it's a small but costly loss for Polt.
Polt scanned, but I really hope he's not going to try to do anything funky. He might actually try to drop, but there are sensor towers in the main base of aLive, so aLive knows this is coming. I don't think this is going to end very well for Polt.
Oh, no, it's not. One medevac's going to die with 7 Marines in tow, maybe 6 Marines in tow. The other one will manage to get away, albeit barely.
Isn't it crazy that Polt is the aggressor in this situation, man?
You know, he's kind of played this way all game long, just always trying to push the issue. One thing that you have to say about Polt is he sets the tempo of his own games.
Man, Polt has no vision at all of this south side of the map. Just now he's going to be able to see these Marines streaming in, and well, actually it's going to be a really big army. That is just so smart by aLive. Just try to take control of this All-Night Watchtower with 3 Marines, and then he suddenly want to show up with this big group of Marines, but that's not going to be the case.
Changing his mind there, backs off of that push, says that he doesn't want to risk attacking into tanks, especially when he's leaving his own tanks exposed up there in the middle.
Upgrades are so even either side. We can see additional bases going down as well. Polt getting another planetary fortress, this time in the middle of the map. So what Polt has done with all this sort of fake aggression, because it's not really anything more than a contain, is securing a fort base ever before aLive will be able to do so.
Polt's got to be careful. He's not going to have any success going up that ramp.
I really would love to see Polt just retreat right now, and I think he should be very satisfied with what he achieved with this squad and the situation that he was in the previous few minutes.
Yeah, I mean, he comes out of this even in supply ahead in bases. Although, aLive's got a lot of money banked up, and that extra orbital, we can see the benefit of it. He's got 2K banks. Oh, and he's going to catch these units in transit.
Oh, there's no siege over here, so all these tanks are going to fall as well. Way more Marines for aLive. aLive is definitely going to take this fight.
Oh, and that's a very costly loss for Polt. Not only losing the tanks, but losing the medevacs, the Marines. Everything goes down, and that means that he's completely exposed in the middle of the map. At the same time, though, Polt stems in and picked off the tanks that aLive had behind at his own I guess natural 4th expansion. aLive still pushing though. 170 supply, bearing down on the 4th expansion of Polt. Every tank will fall, and aLive is going to continue to march forward up the ramp into the natural, or no,
really
just
sure
backing off.
To go.
A little bit of indecision.
He's afraid. He doesn't know what's behind, but there was really not anything behind. But yeah, you can't know that if he stims up and he loses all the Marines to tanks. We are always the first one to say, oh, you shouldn't have done that. So aLive cautious about a situation like that, but he didn't have to be. He could have done a tremendous amount of damage.
Instead, he's going to reunite with his full force and maybe resume this push once again.
Man, I'm afraid this Viking is going to run out of fuel soon.
If only such a thing were possible. Polt going to push once more down towards this 4th expand. I'm sorry, aLive pushing once more towards the 4th expand of Polt. Planetary is there. A lot of Marines. They're going to stem and run in, but Planetary gets a couple good shots off, kills a handful of Marines.
Oh, the siege tank are going to help out so much for aLive, though. This is starting to look very good for aLive right now, picking up those medevacs as well. Polt still has his pretty big army, but why Polt?
It's not really serving any purpose right there. He's not containing aLive. It's just kind of sitting there hanging out, and now he's finally going to unsiege and head back. Hopefully in time to save this command center. We can see he's taken some pretty sizable losses. aLive's still maxed out. Polt at just 160 supply. Worker counts are about even, so the army's definitely aLive with the larger army.
If Polt's going to stem in right now, the +2 is just ready for the siege tank, but actually not focusing anything. They were focusing Marines on the top side. Beautiful sandwich here by Polt, and he's actually able to pick off that army, or pick off the medevac, and clean up most of the army of aLive. But more worrying is the reinforcements, but probably Polt is going to get time to stabilize. He has a sick economy.
Yeah, it was a great fight there for Polt, and because he's been able to mine on 4 bases, he does have, like you said, a good economy to fall back on. Supply is much closer now. And Polt is sticking around. aLive still trying to push, and he's got the benefit of attacking from the high ground.
aLive a little bit ahead right now, but Polt has these superior siege tank numbers, and of course he's going to have tanks sieged up already in case aLive wants to move in. 3-3 almost ready for Polt now as well. 3-3 has been ready for aLive, was already ready, or it sort of became ready during that previous fight.
Polt expanding again across the top half of the map. aLive doing the same on the bottom side, so these guys splitting Daybreak, a scenario that is not all that uncommon in high-level play on Daybreak. I think a lot of this game could come down to the 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock expansions.
I think both guys are making a tribute to the Olympic Games in London 2012 with their sensor towers on the map.
Olympic rings, we need one more to complete the mural. aLive taking a good fight here in the center of the map. Is going to get a lot of tank kills, going to get a lot of marine kills. Still going to stream in. A good exchange for aLive. Tank's going to get picked off. 174 supply against 150 now. Polt in full retreat. And aLive is not going to relinquish this attack. Continuing to push across the top half. Might, if he's really fast, be able to get there in time to pick off the planetary. No, I don't think he will.
He's a lot of 3-3 marines though, so even if the planetary is ready, he might be able to do it. More worrying for Polt should be all these siege tanks rolling in. aLive once more up 30 supply. Well, a little bit less right now after losing a couple of those units. Unfortunately, the last sensor tower messed up our flag, man. It's like this little kid who has to ruin the drawing.
Man.
I'm disappointed.
Just didn't get it right, Kev. Marine's going to try to push down on this planetary. Tanks are in range. Immediately, aLive pulls SCVs and starts to repair. Such a close fight. 190 supply to 170.
The good thing for Polt is Polt might lose the left upside of the map, but he's going to do something about this fourth base of aLive. And then I think, well, okay, aLive has the right bonus side of the map as well. He just took that. Never mind.
Yep, this command center does fall.
I would love to see Polt try to do something about that as well. It's going to take quite a while before aLive is going to do anything with this army anyway. And I kind of wonder where, wow, there are so many minerals left.
What is Polt going to do about this attack squad on the left side of the map, though? Like, aLive has basically stalled Polt's push. Or as soon as I say that, Polt starts to push down towards the bottom right. So these guys are just kind of trading bases at this point. Planetary and the third base of Polt going to go right down, and some SCVs going to fall with it.
Most SCVs do get evacuated, though. Come on, siege up, Polt. Why not? Siege up near us. Tanks were dancing a little bit. A couple of tanks are in range of the planetary fortress, but it's going to take a long time. At least he's going to deny mining. Does Polt know about this base? Yes, he does. So, Polt, it's time that you're going to take it out. That's exactly what he does.
Not the missile turret guy! Oh, bad day to be missile turret.
You want to be that guy.
Not anymore, Kev. I think I would rather be...
I think this is going so much better for Polt. I feel that Polt is doing massive amounts of damage a lot quicker than aLive has been doing it. aLive, Polt has fewer SCVs as well, which is actually a good thing
right now.
A good thing right now because he's going to have the bigger army.
But look how broke Polt is. He has $0.
He has a command center. He can float it over here to the south side. Look at the reinforcements from aLive streaming, and it's going to be a sick army. Polt already has +3 on his mech units. +3 is on the way for aLive. Both players obviously 3-3 Marines for quite some time already.
Pretty crazy game here, and these guys really pulling out all the stops, knowing the importance.
aLive wants to move on, man, to that playoff bracket, and Polt hanging in there for his tournament life. Both these guys still in the running for that playoffs, for the ticket to Toronto.
Yeah, really great job here on both sides of the map. Polt's got a couple of units in an awkward position, and aLive's going to come crush into it. He does have tanks there, and that means it's going to be a fight that Polt cannot win.
But if Polt takes out this army, which I think that's exactly what he wants to do, he's just going to stim in with everything.
Big stim. Tanks doing heavy damage, though. I don't know if this is going to be worth it for Polt. Look at the losses he's taken. He will get these tanks, but not before losing a ton of bio.
He's going to lose all the bio, man. Just 3 has 3. Oh, he's lost all of his
and the
Marines.
tanks actually survive, and aLive, upon realizing this, could try to attack down on top of the siege tanks of Polt. No more bio for Polt, and no more money for Polt. It's 100 supply to a maxed out aLive. This could be it.
Oh, and this is where he wants to drop tanks on top of the other tanks. Imagine if he would have done that before. There were quite a few Marines, but when he dropped all the Marines. God, I actually thought it was a smart idea by Polt, because most of the army of aLive wasn't there, but those siege tanks, man, they didn't even have +3, but they didn't need it. They did so much damage to these Marines.
Finally, aLive is going to commit to this attack. He's going to kill the siege tanks. The planetary is going to fall. And that is going to do it here for Polt. GG comes out aLive. Whoa. Takes out TSL Polt.
The IPL 4 champion.
That's right, man. Looking really strong here in the NASL Season 3. Advances to the 16-man playoff bracket wins that series 3-1. What a TVT series that was.
Definitely. Certainly Game 4 is one that will be remembered by both of us. Pretty sick series. I don't really think there's much else we can say about it. Beautiful play by aLive. I am sad to see Polt out. I'm a little bit of a Polt fanboy. He's always been one of my favorite Korean Terrans because he's so humble, so nice. But what I've heard from aLive, despite not really knowing, I heard he's a really nice guy as well. Cannot wait to figure out who he is going to play in the playoffs, but I believe that's not determined yet until we figure out who wins between Dimaga and Ganzi and Sen versus Zinho. Those are the games coming up. Certainly Sen versus Zinho, Ben, is going to be a really big one. Is that the next one or
next up is Dimaga versus Ganzi. So Dimaga,
okay,
fresh off that second place at DreamHack, riding some momentum. Also won in week 9 of the regular season. Going to be going up against Ganzi. Somebody who kind of squeaked by, just barely making it into the playoff bracket.
5-3, I believe, Ganzi? Yes, that is correct.
So, guys, stick around. Dimaga versus Ganzi, our next best of 5. It's going to be a barn burner. We'll be back after this.